Hey guys, I'm Joe Klemczewski. Welcome back to Contest Prep University here with Adam Atkinson, and we are moving through our series on the contest diet ladder. Last time we talked about meal timing, meal structure. Now I want to hit some of the quality issues of food because that goes hand in hand. And Adam and I were talking off camera a little bit about one of the first things is the thermic effect of food. We mentioned that when we discussed fat and how that has a low thermic potential, but it's one of the reasons why protein is the first rock to put in the jar, so to speak, and get exactly what you need there. So let's go through some of the things, maybe the top 2 or 3 issues that we would consider quality issues with food, Adam.
Yeah, so I had a great email this week. I had a girl, she sent me her daily logs. We couldn't figure out why she wasn't losing. A lot of her food was coming from eating out. And she was a little bit crushed because I said, I don't think we can do that and, get the results and maintain the pace we want. And she said, I thought I was a macro dieter. And I said, you are still, but you have to understand that that chef just does not care if he is within, a nuance of a gram of your nutrition. So it really comes down to not that you can't have that sub, but maybe it's actually higher calories than you think. So I made sure to tell her you can still macro diet, but there's an issue with the variance in the quantity of what you're eating. And then we taper that down into, looking at other food sources. So she was eating Pop-Tarts, which I think is fine, but I said, a piece of wheat bread might hold a higher thermic effect. And what the thermic effect is how much energy your body uses digesting that food. So since she has a slower weight loss pace, I think it's really important to present that to her as an option for potential faster progress. But I also explained if that Pop-Tart keeps you from maybe binging on a cookie later or having something else, I absolutely want to keep it in there because that brings us back to the first rung of adherence. So if that Pop-Tart keeps you on point, I'm totally okay with it.
Right. And it's a good point. We could go into the science very deeply on food quality, but I would just challenge people because everybody kind of needs to learn for themselves. Just try some different foods, try sticking to greater whole food, higher quality. You may not even understand all the phytonutrients and the things that are in there versus all of the artificial additives and fillers in processed foods that are making a difference, not only in how you feel, but in truly that accuracy of the macronutrient count, the calorie count that you are recording. So just like your client, Adam, I would say there are so many missteps that are highly possible the further you get away from whole food that's measurable and way more accurate. But just in terms of how you feel, there's no question. Every time I start a dieting process and all of a sudden my food quality goes up, consistency goes up, you just automatically feel like, wow, I didn't realize, I was feeling as badly as I was because I have so much more energy now and, hunger dissipates. So a lot of reasons, but let's go back to that thermic effect of food that may be new for some people. So we know that, protein, it has a highest thermic potential of around 30%. So 30% of the calories inside that protein we consume are literally utilized in the digestion and transport. So moving down into carbohydrates and then fat, how much value are we losing in thermic potential?
Yeah, quite a bit with fat, but then with carbs, we're getting a good thermic effect from those as well. And then going back to our macro setup, that's why, typically with us, you're going to see protein and carbs higher macronutrients than fat, especially if you get into saturated fat. If we're just talking about fat as a whole, saturated fat can really impact somebody's prep pretty negatively.
Yeah, so just like I said, about 30% thermic effect from protein, 3% or less from carbs. So that's quite a drop, like you said, in that, or from protein. And then carbs in between really do depend on the complexity. So a really simple carb may give you an initial little kick of thermic effect, which is nice, but then it's gone. Whereas a complex carb, like you'd mentioned, that whole grain bread, takes longer to digest, and that mechanical action of digestion is what creates that heat loss, that thermic effect. So a lot of other things we could talk about in terms of quality, guys, but just stick to the basics. Know that when you're trying to achieve a goal, there are probably going to be easier, better, healthier ways the closer you stick to whole foods, just with that quality mindset. So we're going to move on. We'll see you next time in Contest Prep University as we move up the contest diet ladder.